Hi guys, this is Tom from Comic Book Creature, and I just have a short haul for you today, a haul I'm pretty excited about. I'm trying to creep toward my completion of the Conan the Barbarian run, and I picked up a few things that are along that line, and a few things that are associated with that I'd like to share with you today. If you follow my Instagram, you may have seen some pictures of these, but if not, then here you go. Show you a few today. This is Conan the Barbarian, number 44. Great cover with Red Sonja. This is Conan the Barbarian, number 45. Fantastic monster cover. I just love it. It's great. Try to keep the glare off that. And Conan the Barbarian, number 46. It's a cool looking prismatic type monster. It's a great cover here. Conan the Barbarian, number 95. And I absolutely love this cover. This is Conan the Barbarian, number 96. Okay. Conan has an animal sidekick here. Another great Conan cover, a little bit later in the series, 116. Bright white cover. And just the opposite, Conan 223, a nice looking dark cover. I just love that cover. It's really crisp and good looking. Then you get into some pretty stylized art here with Conan 261. Getting toward the end of the series. And Conan 262. Pretty cool looking books. Some of those I may have multiples of, but a lot of those older ones that's the only copy I have. I picked up a few recently. I'm really making that run toward the finish. And when I get that done, hopefully I'll be able to show them all. I'm looking for some low issues. I've got my eye on a couple of number ones. I've got like number 2 and some other early issues. But once I get those put together, I hope maybe to do a run video and talk about what I like so much about them. Now, in addition to that, I got a hold of some really cool stuff that's sort of associated with it, kind of. This is Creatures on the Loose, number 10. Just a beautiful copy. That is King Kull's first appearance in comics. Just an amazing cover. I just love I just love it. Beautiful. I think that's Bernie Wright. I believe that's a Bernie Wright cover. I think so. Gorgeous. Creatures on the Loose, number 13. Fantastic looking book. Creatures on the Loose, number 14. Love this next cover. Creatures on the Loose, number 18. Creatures on the Loose, number 19. Just a fantastic, look at that framed out cover there with all the different colors, the skin tones. It's just fantastic. Creatures on the Loose, number 23, with Thongor. It's kind of a Conan-like character. Matter of fact, they capitalize on that with Creatures on the Loose 28. They even call it in the great tradition of Conan. So I'm pretty interested in this character too. Trying to pick up some of this stuff that I'm really focused on in my collection. My desires have kind of changed over the years, and I sat down one day with myself looking at all my comics and thinking, you know, what am I going to do? I've got to make a decision about what direction I want to take the collection. And frankly, the Sword and Sorcery, the Conan, the Jungle stuff, and there's a few, like I'm a big Thor fan and Avengers and things like that. That's where I'm really taking the collection and trying to get some obscure, cool stuff that I just want for the collection. While I'm not necessarily downsizing. Every time I say I'm going to do that, I end up not doing that. So, but I am trying to share the wealth with some people, and I'm working on that. I've got an awful lot of comics to go through. With that, believe it or not, I did not have any of this that I can recall, and I was able to pick up a couple of really nice issues of King Kull, number 24. I want to get this series also, King Kull. One of my friends actually prefers the Kull stories in comics to the Conan. So, you know, I actually, believe it or not, I've not actually read the Kull stories, but I do love the covers. Look at that. Incredible. Just an incredible cover. All right. He's really going at that lizard. All right. Okay, in addition to the comics, I wanted to kind of discuss a little bit about the video, movie, DVD releases that are associated with some of the Conan and Sword and Sorcery. I'm also a big movie buff. You guys know that. I try to collect as much of that as I can. And this is the complete quest. This is the franchise collection of Conan the Barbarian and then Conan the Destroyer. We'll not talk about that one too much, but it has its moments. Conan the Barbarian. It's a fantastic edition. Great movie. The first film just kind of changed a lot of people's perspective on how they view the sword and sorcery genre. I personally really enjoyed it when I was younger. It's not quite Robert E. Howard's Conan, but it certainly works well, and we all love it. Another movie that a lot of people don't talk about, but was around for quite a while. And I actually, believe it or not, I really enjoyed this, was Kevin Sorbo and Kull the Conqueror. It's not quite as bad as you might think. You can certainly see the CGI is very, very dated in it, but it's a fine movie. I mean, he did the Hercules Legendary Adventures, and while that was a little hokey, this does a pretty decent job. It's just a lot of fun. Inside this one, it's got a really nice fold-out, which I'll show you. It shows you the cover once more, and another picture of Kull is reversible, and then a great fold-out. So, I mean, I think this could have been a nice franchise if they had really worked on it. Maybe it hit wrong, or maybe it kind of dropped the ball a little bit with how the whole tone of the film was, but I enjoyed it. It was fun. Another one I wanted to mention is, of course, Red Sonja. Okay, I always kind of question Bridget Nelson's selection in that, but she did okay. It was all right. There's some pretty disturbing scenes in this. I remember that when the order that she's from, a lot of them are tossed down into the well where when it seals, it can never be opened again. And I remember the women yelling and screaming as it closed, and it's kind of a disturbing thing. And this, of course, is supposed to be Conan, but it can't be Conan because there was, of course, name rights and all kinds of copyright issues there. So they had to call him someone else, Calidor. They called him Calidor, but everyone who watched it knew it was supposed to be Conan. It's not a bad film. It's pretty enjoyable. I remember reading some articles about it, how he worked with Bridget Nelson, getting her sword play down because he had kind of perfected the style that he wanted to portray on screen. And I enjoyed it, and I enjoy it from time to time. It's a pretty cool film. The last one I want to talk about is Conan the Barbarian from the newest incarnation. This, of course, is with Jason Momoa. Now, this movie's caught a lot of flack, but to be honest with you, it's quite beautiful as far as the way it looks. Yes, it has some problems with the script, but the problem is, you know, people expected something, I think, a little bit more, and when they didn't get it, they really gave this film a hard time. But I genuinely, as a Conan fan, liked it. I think Jason Momoa, he really wanted to portray the Robert E. Howard Conan more than, you know, Arnold Schwarzenegger did back in the day. And so he actually read Howard, and he will tell you himself that he felt like that his portrayal, he wanted to make it Howard's Conan. And I think he does that. I mean, he's very hostile. He's very, very, you know, sees the day. He's really, really a tough customer in this. He's a lot less introspective, more living in the moment. He's very feral. And I was able to talk with Jason Momoa about this when I met him in a convention down in St. Louis, and I told him how much I appreciated his portrayal of Conan, and I really wish that they could get some script writers together and take another shot at this. I think they could really knock this out of the park. Which leads me to the area of Conan I'm most upset about. Supposedly, Amazon was developing a Conan television series that was supposed to trace the Robert E. Howard stories all the way up from the beginning to the end. And I would love to have seen that done, especially if they could have gotten Jason Momoa to do it, because he's just got the look down. He just looks like Conan. And it got killed by somebody, some executive somewhere in power. And the rumor is that the executive thought it was going to be too patriarchal or too misogynist. And I'm like, I hate it when we start playing with those kind of words when it comes to entertainment, because it's a fantasy story and it's not something that we really need to label so much, especially when you consider the type of character that Conan is. Honestly, if you've read the stories, Conan never took advantage of a woman in a forceful way. It's not something he did. He was kind of an opportunistic person, yes indeed, and his morals were pretty low, but he was certainly a gentleman when it came to it. So I don't think that that would have been an issue, but they've elected to go with a Wheel of Time series, I think. I've heard rumors of that, and here's hoping they do that right. We'll see. I don't know. I don't have a lot of faith, I have to say. I'm kind of sad that there's not going to be a Conan series. Maybe one day. There is an older one on television that I'm working my way through now. It's a little strange, but it's a lot of fun. Maybe I'll talk about that sometime. Hey, how do you feel about Conan, and how do you feel about the way that sometimes mass media messes with characters that have been traditionally established for decades? And I don't like that. I wish they'd leave stuff alone and just create some other characters if they want to go a different route. No harm, no foul. I don't care, and I don't begrudge anybody anything, but I really wish that they would just take that Howard Conan and really make a great movie or a great television series out of it. They can certainly do it, especially when we look at things like Game of Thrones. They could certainly budget something like that, and I think if they did, they would find that folks like myself and a lot of you out there would respond very positively. All right, I'll have more videos coming out soon. I'm going to be doing some videos about cover art. They're going to be discussing that, and a lot of other haul videos coming. And of course, I'll continue my greatest haul ever video as soon as I can get all that together. Hey, thanks for watching. Be kind to each other. See you next time.